So I've just made the spontaneous and completely irreversible decision that this is now a cooking channel. So welcome to Mochibites, where we bring your favourite game foods into reality. Yeah, okay, that slogan needs a bit of work. Anyway, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was released in 2017, and there's this food item in it called the Egg Tart. It's basically a pastry tart with a custard-like filling, which heals Link similarly to most other consumable items in the game. So I'm going to try and recreate this, taking inspiration from the real-world Portuguese and Oriental-style egg tarts. Right, let's get started. So the first step is to make the dough, and for this we're going to copy an aspect of Macanese tarts and try to make some puff pastry. Let's sift and add 250 grams of flour, then 250 grams of butter. While I'm mixing this together, let me explain how puff pastry works. When combining the dough, the aim is to not mix the two ingredients fully together. If done correctly, there will be streaks of butter throughout the dough, creating a sort of layered marble effect. The butter within these streaks will melt when baked in the oven, creating pockets of air, which should cause the dough to puff up, making it a little flaky. The concept is relatively straightforward, but puff pastry is very difficult because of how specific the kneading and rolling of the dough has to be. But of course, as the owner of this established cooking channel, I had no issues at all. Anyway, we've got this mixture now, and we also have to add 100 milliliters of water. Honestly, I couldn't tell you why, but I think it's necessary, so let's just go with that, okay? A bit more combining later, and we've got the base of our dough. I'm gonna wrap this up in a slightly deformed ball. I'm not very good at shaping dough, I've realized. And I'm gonna put this in the fridge for about 20 minutes. Now the next step is to add flour onto the dough once we've unwrapped it, so that it doesn't stick to any of our hands or the utensils. And roll it out with this rolling pin I found. If someone can let me know why they're called rolling pins, I have no idea and I cannot be bothered to search it up. And this seems like one of those random trivia facts that one of you guys might know. I have no idea. Anyway, make sure to only roll it in one direction so we get the butter streaks to be consistent throughout the pastry. Fold it and roll it again a few times. I did it about twice, I think. And then we can whack it back into the fridge for another 20 minutes or so. And that's basically the dough done. Oh, if you're thinking of making this, by the way, I have the recipes that I was inspired by linked below. Please don't follow this video. I'm not qualified and I do not want that on my conscience. Or do. It will just go horribly wrong. So while we wait for this dough to cool or whatever it's doing in the fridge, we can get to the eggy bit of the egg tart. The image in Breath of the Wild looks more similar to the Portuguese style tart if you were to compare it to the real world, because the top seems more caramelized, which is less of a feature of the Oriental Danta. However, I kind of mixed both Hong Kong and Macau style tarts for the sole reason that I just like eating dim sum and only really experienced that kind of egg tart growing up. So go complain in the comments, I dare you. This dish is commonly a dessert, so first we gotta add the sweetness, which is done by dissolving 6 tablespoons of sugar into boiled water. To cause the mixture to dissolve faster, I've learnt the simple trick of deception, where if you suddenly change the direction of your mixing, the sugar gets jump scared and will comply with dissolving. Next we crack and whisk 4 eggs. Then wait for the sugary mixture to cool before pouring it in, otherwise the egg may cook in the water if it's too hot still. And, oh, okay, guess we're just gonna pour it in now, sure. Hopefully nothing bad happens. Now I'm adding about 60 milliliters of evaporated milk and mixing it in. And this part is basically almost done too. The egg tart in the real world originated in Portugal with the, excuse my pronunciation, pastel de nata. This was created by Portuguese monks, but through a long journey of European colonialism, it entered Chinese and Oriental cuisine, inspired by the British custard tart, which came a bit after the Portuguese one. The specific danta that people love today is rumoured to have surfaced around the 1920s, and the Cantonese egg tart dish is now associated with Hong Kong and their renowned tea shops. That's how this one dish somehow managed to invade 2 seemingly completely separate cultures, which is pretty cool. Right, so it's time to bake. I'm gonna take out the dough from the fridge, so we can roll it out and cut into however many equal sizes. I miscounted how many slots I had in the tray, so I made 16 dough parts, which is, as some of the more adept and proficient mathematicians here will know, more than 12. But it's fine, I just made 4 extra ones in the end, so don't worry, the dough isn't wasted. Now we pour in the egg mixture, trying to keep it to around 70 to 80% full in each tart. Oops, okay, that was way too much. Moving on, right, yep. Okay, finally, I'm baking it at around 200 degrees Celsius, or 100 degrees Fahrenheit for the special people, for around 15 to 20 minutes. Basically until the dough has fully cooked and the egg has solidified enough. And here we go, some egg tarts, straight out of Breath of the Wild. Kind of. I had no mint leaves to garnish with, which is what I assume this is, so I'm just gonna use spinach. Perfect, yeah, that looks fine. Thanks to my sister for helping me with this, who is a much better baker than I am and has told me most of what I've just told you. And I'll catch you all later in the next installment of Mochibites. Oh, that's really hot.